So I've owned and used the Apple Vision Pro for over a month. I am by no means ready for a full review. That's probably like months off, who knows. But the point is, I've been able to see where this fits into my life, like practically, where it can enhance my workflow and entertainment type tasks or whatever. And I also have sort of thought about, where it's appropriate to use, where it's not, basically how not to be cringe with the Apple Vision Pro. And I'm no authority. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm plenty cringe. Just look at my Instagram and other content. But like, there are places to use this and there are places you shouldn't. And not just, about like being in public and being inconspicuous, but like just during your day-to-day life in general. Like this thing, it's not supposed to get in the way, but if you use it wrong, it's going to. So, I want to just sort of show you how my life goes with this thing, sort of using this when appropriate, and also just like being unplugged and experiencing reality through my actual eyeballs where it makes sense. And for the most part, that's more often than not. I also didn't expect this video to turn out to be as long as it is, almost the full length of an episode of The Sopranos. So please skip around. Know that it is a very real look at what I do on a day-to-day basis, plus or minus some social interactions. Some days I'm like more alone, other days I'm seeing friends. So I've kind of put everything together to show you how I might use the Apple Vision Pro appropriately, and also when I don't, and that's like a lot of my day, and that's the whole point of this video, the contrast, when to wear it and when not to. So without saying any more, enjoy this very long video, and please skip around. I encourage you to. And welcome to my morning. As you can see, I keep my Vision Pro right next to where my phone charges at night. I usually try to get up around 8 or 8:30, but in this shot, I'm sure it's a bit later because, there's actual daylight coming through the window here. And yeah, I can already hear my cats screaming and crying at my bedroom door, which I keep closed on purpose because they would wake me up in the middle of the night. And I have to get my glasses on so I can actually see what I'm doing during the day here. I check some notifications on my phone and immediately attend to my children who are starving and need to eat. How's my little girlie? Hey Siri, turn my living room lights on. HomeKit outlets are game-changing. Anyway, once my lights are on and my bearings are somewhat together, it's time to feed my cats. Again, they are starving and dying and have let me know at least 15 times. I feed my cats wet food twice a day because I spoil them and want them to actually be hydrated because I never see them drink water. Apparently they do, but yeah, they love this food a lot, so much so I have to lock my kitten up in a cage because if I don't, she will quickly eat her food and then run over and eat his food, and he just lets her do it. So yeah, I gotta play food referee / prison guard. I gotta make sure she's not in there for too long, but also make sure that he has eaten his food because he eats slower than her, especially when he was sick like last month. Had I not watched her, she would have eaten all of his food. As you can see here, she just runs over and immediately has to check out what he ate. It's ridiculous. And after the food refereeing is over, it's now time for me to take my morning shower. You see, this is how you shower like a normal person. No apparatus required. All right, calm down, ladies and gentlemen. And this is my uniform, ladies and gentlemen. Slim Traveler gray pants from Banana Republic and a white shirt to match my white tech, specifically my 15 Pro Max right there. And then it's time for me to eat. And of course, my cats think that they're going to have more food, as you will see, which they will. And they get in the way of my breakfast cooking routine every single day. It's so much fun. So I'm getting some ham out. I'm getting some butter out, or margarine, really. She's getting stuck in the fridge. And I'm getting all of the apparatus required to cook my signature breakfast that I do every morning, so I feel like I've accomplished something in my day. I make myself some ham, eggs, toast, and some fruit of some sort. And of course, I have to pay the obligatory lunch meat ham tax to my cats. It's a whole gladiator event. And then it's time to turn the burner on and get things started. I first start by putting some margarine in the pan for the ham that I'm gonna fry. I put some AirPods in so I can have some dopamine without too much distraction, because if I'm on my phone, nothing gets done. And I do a little shimmy into my bedroom to put my Apple Watch on, because that's gonna help me control my music without, again, getting too distracted as I fry some ham and crack some eggs open here. As you can see, 3 eggs to be exact. That's enough food for me. And then I get my bread out so I can make some toast. She's getting caught in the fridge. And then, yeah, I begin to fry up my 3 eggs and ham here, like the Dr. Seuss book, Green Eggs and Ham. Anyway, that's random. I begin to toast my bread so I can get that all jellied up once my eggs are plated. I get the jelly out, strawberry jelly. I use a spoon, it comes in clutch. And I'm going the sauce route for fruit this morning because I am feeling lazy and don't want to cut up an apple. And then I pour myself a glass of filtered water and orange juice, and then I get my 17,000 vitamins out. Take your vitamin D, people. It is very important. And finally, the moment you've been waiting for, I grab my Vision Pro and put that onto my dining room table so I can use that once I'm all situated for breakfast here. Applesauce, eggs, vitamins, pouring some water, and salting my food, and boom, I am ready to eat and use the Vision Pro in a pretty natural way. As you can see, I'm putting it on my face after I remove my glasses. I have the Zeiss inserts, which are a little pricey, but definitely worth it. I clip the battery onto my belt, and I unlock the device here, and as you can see, I'm just beginning to eat my eggs. The headset does not get in the way of that, which is good here. It feels pretty natural. And then I decide to open up Twitter, or excuse me, X, because that's what it's called now, because some guy wanted to ruin the app because he could. And then I also decide to open up a YouTube client called Juno. It's a really great app. It's kind of janky. It's sort of a web browser, but it makes watching YouTube so much better than just, doing it in Safari. And then I also decide to open up music to see if I just want to, play something in the meantime if I get sick of my YouTube video and want to just scroll through Twitter. And then I open up my applesauce here. Love this stuff, unsweetened. You can get it at Costco. Amazing. And as you can see here, I can just begin to chow down on that. No problem at all. And I can actually see what I'm doing too. The pass-through isn't perfect, but you can actually, see what's going on here. I wouldn't recommend, again, cooking with the thing on. But as for eating, it's a pretty basic task. So, just eating and going about, Twitter and YouTube and whatever is a pretty amazing experience, especially because you don't have to sort of lean down or sort of scrunch your neck up looking at your phone or an iPad or a laptop here. And you can just have fun throwing around the interface. And here I am opening up the News app, which is just a disembodied iPad app. It's in the compatible apps folder. So yeah, it just runs like an iPad without a chassis in whatever position you want it to be in. And I decided to, pick a positive story in the morning, to start my day. A Mac rumors story specifically, of course, on brand for me. I put the app into landscape mode with the button because, again, there's no chassis to interact with, no gyroscope required. You can literally touch the apps, which is super cool, again, like you would an iPad app. That's one of my favorite parts of Vision Pro here. And here I am getting some more water for myself here, and everything that I had opened is, staying exactly where it is pretty much. I mean, stuff jitters a little bit, but I mean, everything is anchored pretty much where you left it. And of course, I have to get some Oppenheimer movie clips in. I'm a big movie clip watcher. My friends make fun of me for it, but whatever. I enjoy myself rewatching stuff and also spoiling shows and movies for myself. But scrolling through Twitter here again like you would on an iPad, and yeah, just watching that great scene in Oppenheimer, having some orange juice as well. One of my small gripes with the headset is that it does kind of get in the way with some taller glasses, but for the most part, you can do it no problem. You might just sort of kind of come in contact slightly with the edge or the bottom edge of the headset while it's on your head, but otherwise the eating and drinking experience is pretty great. It's a little disorientating because the pass-through isn't exactly, one-to-one with reality, and you do kind of have a more limited POV or field of view, but again, if you're not cooking, if you're not doing anything super, intense or, that requires focus, yeah, it's really no problem, which is why I really enjoy eating and drinking with this on. Because again, you don't have to sort of have your phone propped up or a laptop propped up. You don't need to sit in front of the TV. Everything you want to do is just suspended in front of you. The only downside is you have a little bit of extra weight on your head, which is really not a problem with this dual strap that I have on, which isn't glamorous, but I mean, it definitely works if you're indoors and, you're not trying to impress anybody. And yeah, it just evenly distributes the weight on your head, which I enjoy here as I interact with a Twitter post there and scroll around, which is super cool. Again, interacting with the Vision OS apps or iPad apps like you would on a regular touchscreen is super fun in Vision OS. And here I am tweeting, typing on the virtual keyboard, which works pretty well as well. You wouldn't think it. But that's the end of my breakfast session. Now it's time to get the table cleaned up and also my kitchen in general cleaned up, because if I don't keep up with it, it just gets really bad. So I have to attend to the dishes here and also put some stuff away, turn on some Lana too to kind of help the time pass here without getting too distracted once again here. And then I tackle my dishes in the sinks so they don't get backed up so I can, actually feed myself later on today. And with the upkeep complete, it's now time to use my Vision Pro once again for some morning work here at this sort of centered living room desk setup that I used to have an iMac at, but I since just sort of left the desk alone, put a keyboard and a trackpad on it, as you can see here. And this allows me to just work in Vision OS as I would, like a regular computer, but without the limits of a, typical computer monitor, which is super cool. So I got Gmail open here, and I can make use of my Magic Keyboard, which works really well with Vision OS. It kind of like actually recognizes it as a keyboard with a little text preview instead of spawning the whole virtual keyboard in front of it. I think this is Apple just trying to get you to buy the Magic Keyboard. And here I am opening up music to listen to some art pop by Lady Gaga, specifically Aura in this case, a great song. And I just throw the app towards my door and then, adjust the volume and then get back to work. I can also view all of my tabs at once, which is pretty cool in this sort of spread layout. Another cool feature with Safari is that you can just drag links out into empty space and have another Safari window just spawn in front of you, so you don't have to necessarily just stick with your original Safari window. And now I want to make a quick FaceTime call. Here's my persona, which definitely looks better in version 1.1 opposed to 1.0. I then FaceTime my sister. Her boyfriend answers the phone. We have our pretend shtick where we pretend to hate each other, but nah, it's always a good conversation. I get her on the phone and we just talk a little more, and then it's time to go and just sort of get on with my day. And I just end the call by dragging the window forward and just pressing the X button like you would on a touchscreen. This is something I love about Vision OS, that sort of literal aspect. And here I am unplugging the battery because I had it plugged in because I was doing, kind of a sit down work type sesh. And then it was time for me to get ready to leave. I'll be meeting up with a friend for lunch and do some work downtown. I put my jacket on and I religiously zip up my Vision Pro case every time I transport it because I don't want to accidentally not zip it up one day and have the Vision Pro fly out. That would totally happen to me. Slay. I also grabbed my Logitech Keys to Go Ultra Slim keyboard, which is super great for on-the-go usage with the Vision Pro, as you will see soon. I then put the Vision Pro into the travel case here and slot the battery in. It is a process, but this thing is expensive. You don't want to break it. I also swap out the dual loop strap for the solo loop, which looks a lot more normal in public, if you can even say that this device looks normal in public. That's kind of the whole point of this video, sort of figuring out when to use this device and when not to. So I'm glad you're bearing with me here as I show you what's going on during my day. I also grabbed a Coke here to put into my tote bag. This is my caffeine drink of choice because coffee absolutely destroys my digestive system. And I say goodbye to my cats here, as I always do, and I'm headed out the door to then meet up with my friend who's waiting for me outside in his BMW i3, which you'll see in a second here. It's a super cool car. He was kind of on the fence about getting it for a while, but it's his dream car, and his beloved Lexus hybrid broke, so he had the money and he got it for a good price, around 20 grand with some sort of tax credits. So, and also, what's that carrying case right there? We'll find out later. Yeah, super cool car. It's a shame they don't make it in the US anymore, but he has the 2021 model, so it's pretty sick.
Don't get me looking at my phone. It's illegal in Michigan.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah, Gretchen would have said.
Mommy Gretchen.
She's keeping these roads safe.
Mommy Gretchen said don't look at your phone.
That's right, big Gretchen. I'll listen to her. She means...
And after some driving downtown, we finally made it to our restaurant of choice, a vegan spot, the Detroit Street Filling Station. Alex is a vegan, but not the type that makes you feel like a terrible person for consuming animal products. He's more like, hey, this cuisine's cool, give it a try. And I'm glad that I did. I was a little apprehensive at first, being a full-blooded American, but nah, it's actually pretty damn good. And after looking at their online menu, I finally knew what I was going to get, and it came out beautifully here. Here's a shot also of what Alex got, this sandwich. I don't remember what it's called, but it looked really good. Here's my sandwich with some tofu in it, some cauliflower wings, and I got some tater tots and a pickle as well. And yeah, it was great chatting with him, catching up, having a face-to-face conversation, in reality, nothing getting in the way. Also, real quick, check out my new sick wallet my friends at Extra sent over. It's slim, nearly all metal, RFID protected, has a slot for an AirTag, and has this really great pop-up mechanism that makes my cards really easy to unload and reload into the wallet. They also have this sweet Parliament variant, their own tracking card, and so many colors to choose from. And right now you can save up to 35% off certain items on their site if you use code HERMAN at checkout. So yeah, check out my link in the video description if you're interested in checking one of these wallets out. So yeah, after a lovely chat and vegan lunch, we made our way out of the Detroit Street Filling Station back into his i3 and then downtown once again to the kinesiology building to get some work done. And if you are wondering, that case you saw earlier is a Vision Pro one. He happens to own one as well. So we wanted to see what it would be like to use the Vision Pro on our old stomping grounds. Him and I are UMich grads. He studied, sorry, I just had to text him for this. He majored in biomolecular science and minored in gender and health as well as public policy. So impressive stuff.
They're gonna know I bought the cheap Amazon.
I don't give a f. It's for education. And I majored in business, bro. But anyway, here's the kinesiology building. It's really beautiful, open, lots of daylight that comes in there. So we thought it'd be the perfect place to sort of sit tight. And I was gonna go over here, and he was gonna sit tight in this chair right here and get himself set up. And I'm not gonna lie, getting the Apple Vision Pro open and on your head, your glasses off, the whole ordeal, it's a bit of a process. But once you're locked in, you're locked in. And here I am making my way over to this sort of balcony seat with some other people there. That was a little nerve-wracking. But I got my Logitech keys to go out, AirPods in, unzipped my ludicrous astronaut case, and then I put on the Vision Pro like so. And then I began to embark on my possibly first somewhat public spatial computing experience, at least on a public university campus for that matter. And meanwhile, Alex was already deeply immersed into some MCAT preparatory video material. He is preparing to go to med school. If you don't know what the MCAT is, it's sort of like an SAT for med school students. I am so glad I don't have to do this, but he has to really intensely study so much information. So he got the Vision Pro in hopes that it would help him enjoy studying more and help him focus. Here he is turning the digital crown to bring in a virtual background, which happens to be the moon in this case, which is funny because, you know, the MCAT is sort of a scientific test. But then he quickly switched to the Yosemite environment, which is one of my personal favorites as well, a lot more natural and enjoyable in my opinion. And meanwhile, about 50 feet away, I was already enjoying my augmented reality experience over this balcony, having a sip of Coke Zero, of course, to dial in. A little caffeine is all I need. So I opened up the music app and began playing some Lady Gaga, of course, an instrumental. Those help me focus more because lyrics kind of get jumbled in my ADHD brain. I also opened up Obsidian, which is an iPad app. This is where I take a lot of notes and just sort of compile content ideas, as you can see here. I also opened up Twitter so I could somewhat distract myself here and there, sort of have a break in between work and just sort of check news and whatever. This was sort of a brainstorming session, you know, content ideas for this quarter and the next. And this was filmed a little earlier because you're seeing probably like, you know, M3 MacBook Air rumors. This video has been in production for a minute. So anyway, I have a Safari tab up there. I'm doing some research. I have to bring the text preview down there because again, this Logitech keyboard is not a Magic keyboard. So sucks to suck, I guess. I don't want to bring a Magic keyboard with me, but here's something cool. I'm dragging text from the Safari window up there into my Obsidian Note, which is super cool. I love the sort of drag and drop elements in Vision OS here. I also have the news app open. So yeah, I'm just doing a brainstorming session again for content that I, you know, want to put together this quarter and the next based on Apple products that are out and, you know, soon to be out. And here I am adjusting volume on my music with my finger, which is super cool, just like you would on an iPad. The same way I'm interacting with Twitter over here, just by literally touching it. Again, I love this. It's so space age and cool. What's also super cool is that Apple Vision Pro maps out your space so impressively well. Like all of your windows stay exactly where you put them regardless of how big of a space you're in. So you don't just have to be in your living room or a small sort of home space to, you know, have all your windows sort of anchor themselves to, you know, physical spots where you open them. Now they just stay there, and it's wild to see how they just are so cemented into your reality. They're very much fixtures. Wherever you open them and leave them, they stay. And I experimented with this. I walked across the sort of like building here. You can see the windows suspended in the middle of the air. I'm also walking back around and they're still there. There's parallax, there's perspective. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. They kind of jitter here and there, but again, they stay impressively still. And the fact that this is all just sort of projected into your eyeballs and not like, you know, literal monitors that are suspended in the middle of the air just blows my mind. And that was about it for me. And yeah, I would say that was a pretty successful, somewhat public usage case with the Vision Pro, you know, not super cringe, not in anybody's way. Nobody looked at me that weird. I just did my thing and then just packed up. Alex said he had a similar experience. Watching MCAT videos is a lot better on the Vision Pro than a more typical iPad or MacBook setup. He then, of course, packed up his Vision Pro, zipped his case up carefully, and then we were back on the street, making our way back to the parking structure from whence we came, spending a little bit more time because, yeah, he was just just bringing me home and we were wrapping up our, just hangout sesh. And of course, why would this involve any electronic devices, let alone a Vision Pro on one or both of our heads here? And it's like, I'm stating the obvious and I probably sound like I'm 75, but like, it's true. Like, it's important to note that there's so many moments in our lives that don't require any kind of electronic distraction. Even with a phone, it's so easy to get on your phone. So if it wouldn't make sense to have your phone out, why would you have an Apple Vision Pro in your head? And of course, Alex finally left in his i3. Great guy, great time, chat, food, tech, and car. It doesn't get much better than that. And of course, I arrived back home with my stuff, which I promptly put onto my dining room table, and I plugged my Vision Pro in after that session at the kinesiology building. And of course, my cats promptly let me know that they were starving to death, so I fed them dinner, the same protocol from earlier, the prison guard referee situation. And here's my baby girl looking very pretty as I leave to go to Costco, one of my favorite places on earth to shop and eat. It's just a vibe. Like, I know it sounds super lame, but I love it. I go there like multiple times a week. I split up my shopping trips because, like, I don't know, it's bulk stuff, so you don't want to buy it all at once. But yeah, I go there to eat and to shop. The prices are great. And here's my extra wallet coming in handy so I can flash my membership at the door. And I was immediately greeted with the TVs, of course. If you're accustomed to Costco, you see these all the time. And I was thinking about how I will probably never buy a nice giant TV ever again because I have the Vision Pro. You'll see what I mean later. And of course, I made an obligatory pass by the Apple Store section in the store. They have great discounts, by the way. But anyway, I made my way past the stuff section to the food section and immediately grabbed my muffins of choice. These are blueberry muffins. I get a 2-pack for $10. Great deal. I eat those with dinner all the time, as you will see. I also grabbed some Honeycrisp apples, all the while listening to some music on my AirPods Pro, as people do in 2023. If you're enjoying media in public, you probably shouldn't have a whole ass headset on. I also grabbed the 24-pack of eggs, which is super important for my breakfast routine or habits, and Coke Zero 2, again, my caffeine intake of choice. I also often grab orange juice. I go through it quick, so buying in bulk is helpful. And again, about the headset, I cannot imagine wearing it in here. Shooting on my phone is already nerve-wracking enough. This is the most incredible snack. Buy these. This is my sandwich bread, and then these are to die for. I eat like 65 at a time, and I'm always smacking on some extra gum. I go through like a pack a day. I wish I was kidding. And then I made my way over to the self-checkout, got my Costco membership out once again to ID myself and to pay. And then, of course, the best part of Costco, the food court. I bought myself a hot dog and a slice of pizza. I ended up bringing the hot dog home, but of course, I ate the slice of pizza in the Costco food court, as you should. It's literally the law. And of course, I got myself some Pepsi as well and had a fabulous time chowing down on some Costco pizza. And again, just thought about how it would be weird as to wear the headset in the food court. I also got some gas, which is very cheap and competitive. I think they sell it at a loss, just like the food, to get you to, sign up for their membership. And again, why would you wear the headset doing this? And after I was done filling up, I of course brought my groceries back home and lugged them into my apartment with a nice little utility wagon I got off Amazon. A life-changing purchase, by the way. And then I promptly put all of my groceries away into their corresponding places and cupboards. And of course said hello to my cats, who were tired after eating their second wet food serving of the day. I really do spoil them. And then I put my AirPods Max on. I bought these, of course, to look better than everybody else, not because I actually enjoyed the product or anything. It's all about appearances, of course, at the end of the day. Kidding, of course, because baby, we were born this way. Anyway, I went into the freezer to grab my dinner. It is quite often this deep kitchen butter chicken. I originally got it at Costco. Now they only sell it at Meijer and Target, but that's fine. It's literally restaurant quality food. It surprised me. I thought it wasn't going to be good, and now I eat it pretty much every other day, if not every day. All you have to do is poke holes into the plastic film and throw it into the microwave for 3 minutes, peel the film off, and then put it in for an additional 1.5. I also make frozen vegetables because they're super convenient, and if I had anything fresh in my fridge, it would just go bad. I also normally have a glass of almond milk and also water with my dinner. I then grabbed a proper deep bowl for my deep butter chicken, haha. And if you're curious about the almond milk, I drink it because I always pair it with a Costco blueberry muffin. They're really good, but they also get a little bit dry. It's sort of like a milk and cookie situation. I then dump my butter chicken into an actual bowl, so I feel like I made it. No, I'm kidding. I just don't want to eat out of a plastic tray. And the bowl helps cool the food down. I then grab a spoon and mix the butter chicken around, and then I grab a shallow bowl in the shallow for the vegetables that I am still cooking in the microwave here, and I grab them out and promptly dump them into the bowl steaming with some margarine and salt. Again, about the headset, I wouldn't want to do any of this, even though it's pretty simple and straightforward with the headset on. It would just be really distracting. Music, honestly, is distracting enough, as you saw with my little outburst there. And just like with breakfast, once I'm situated with my food, I can then put the headset on and enjoy some content. Also, this is funny, I had to mute the audio being recorded from the headset in this scene because you can just hear me smacking my chops on the food. It's really funny. But yeah, I mean, just like with breakfast, it's super easy to eat. Drinking is another story. The glass kind of gets in the way, but it works. And yeah, I'm just enjoying this Indian food. Honestly, this deep butter chicken is so damn good every single time. But even still, Oscar had to distract me. It's all his fault. I just have to grab him at least 70 times a day and see what's up. I also wanted to mess around with the box a little more, which they seem to enjoy. And then I was right back to eating my dinner. My Twitter page was right where I left it, of course. Apple Vision Pro is just so impressive like that. It just maps out your space really well, and things just remain, again, just like anchored in physical space, even though it's all virtual or augmented in your headset. I then opened up Juno, that YouTube client, and was watching some bits from The Office. Again, I'm a clip watcher. I, want to see a lot of content from a show or a movie before I, sort of devote time to it. I'm that guy, crucify me, whatever you think. But yeah, I made the Juno window bigger. And it's funny, I think this is an ADHD thing. I forget to eat while I'm using a device often, but with the Vision Pro, the stuff's just kind of in your space, so you're almost like prompted to remember, like, oh yeah, I'm eating dinner. My cats decided to fight to the death, so I said,
Can we stop?
Cat parenting in Vision Pro, love to see it. And look, my window is still there, right where I left it. I then decided to hop back on Twitter while also playing some SNL, Pete Davidson's parody of I'm Just Ken. Super funny. I then responded to a text from Alex about a tweet and then used dictation to say something back. Here, as you can see, I probably don't want to say that because it includes an explicative, so I think you get the picture. It's actually really nice to send messages with the Vision Pro here and catch up with them at dinner, along with some YouTube. How could you get through dinner without YouTube in 2024? And if you don't, what are you, some kind of animal? I'm kidding, but when you live alone, you gotta entertain yourself with some Jack Stauber, for example. Love him, he's one of the greatest artists of our time. But anyway, I then wrapped up my dinner with my muffins, sort of like my dessert almost, watching some John Wick 1, some of my favorite clips from the movie, where the son of the mob boss gets clipped. But yeah, I'm just casually having a muffin watching this. The experience is surprisingly intense, especially when you scale it up. Like, I'm not used to watching this intensive content with this big of a screen while I'm eating dinner, unless I'm like on the couch. So it's actually pretty nice that you can do this, without having to, again, relocate your food and without much discomfort, especially with the dual loop, which I probably would have preferred to have on here, but the solo was still on there. And yeah, I'll switch the camera before this kid gets clipped. But yeah, consuming content with this thing, Twitter, YouTube, movies, whatever, while eating dinner is a dream with the Vision Pro. But once dinner was wrapped off, it was once again time for me to take the headset off, come back to reality, clean things up, and to put the headset away or somewhere else for usage later. I had to get to some work this evening here, but yeah, I had to throw some stuff out, put some dishes away, the usual stuff, the usual upkeep, which absolutely does not need any more distraction. My cats are a distraction enough. They're always hounding me in the kitchen, and I'm quite entertained and distracted by myself. That's just the way I am. So yeah, just like in so many other moments in this video, look upon the world around you with your eyeballs. There's no need to have an augmented experience every 5 seconds. It's not helpful or healthy. But anyway, after dinner, I then went to my studio/office to get to work on this video. It looks simple, but I'm telling you, this whole video has taken weeks to put together, and I use the Pro Display XDR for my video editing and just, creative work for the most part, along with some studio monitors that I have paired with it here. This monitor is fabulous. It's even more expensive than the Vision Pro, and I don't say that to flex, it's just true. So clearly, I'm invested into Apple products and the Apple ecosystem, and as much as I love sitting here and editing with the super bright, sharp panel, it can get a little bit cramped and tiring and boring, and sometimes you want to just change up your environment so you can maybe focus longer instead of feeling like you're going stir crazy in the same spot. And that's exactly what I did. I took my MacBook into the living room where I left my Vision Pro, and I decided to get back to work at the same desk setup I used for my morning work here, except with my Mac. If you're not aware, you can use your Vision Pro as an external monitor for your Mac. And here I am putting the dual loop strap or headband back on. I plug in my Vision Pro as well because I'm sitting down once again. I take my glasses off, put the headset on, and then I promptly connect my Mac. This sometimes works with a little button that appears over your MacBook display, but I find it works better with the control center toggle. And yeah, you can just have your whole desktop display floating in front of you, sort of like a disembodied display, you know, no chassis, no bezels. It's super cool. You can put it over your MacBook, but I like to scale it much larger in front of me because that is, you know, the whole point of having, you know, an augmented display, being able to scale it huge and have it wherever you want in your environment. And that's exactly what I did. It is an incredible experience. I would say a monitor is better for color correcting and pixel peeping and just, you know, they're more color accurate and sharp. But can you do this with the Pro Display? Can you go to Mount Hood and just zone in on your work and just sort of focus on what's going on? I love this because I can just get a bulk of my editing done and then of course go back in my office when I need the Pro Display's hardware later. And speaking of going back in my office, this is sort of a behind the scenes look. I had to replace a battery in the camera that I was using to shoot this video, and I was able to do that no problem and set the camera up. In short, the pass-through isn't 1:1, but it's pretty good. I also want to show you how big this Mac virtual display scales in, you know, your space. This looks like a 100-inch TV or something crazy, something you could never possibly fit in your apartment. So I really enjoy that, and it looks super sharp too. Again, not quite as sharp as a display, but this is an experience like none other. Again, you cannot possibly have this gargantuan virtual display in the form of a physical display in your space. So you get a lot for your money with the Vision Pro, you know, being able to just resize stuff. You have no limitations with any physical chassis or bezels or whatever, which brings us to the next part of this work experience here. I was sick of sitting at the desk, so I then moved to my couch and then just decided to work on the ceiling. And I'm sure some of you have seen usage cases where you're watching videos like this, but working is quite nice like this too. I mean, granted, you can't see your keyboard, but you know, if you kind of know where the home row is and everything, and you turn on the environment, I think you can forgive it and just sort of get used to kind of blindly going about the keyboard and the trackpad, which I normally do anyway. You know, I'm a computer literate person, and I decided to, you know, do some planning in Obsidian and Notion, and all while in Mount Hood, or at worst just on my couch chilling like this, super comfortable. It is a fantastic experience. It helps you kind of break up your workday, especially if you work from home like me. But enough with work. I want to do some gameplay here. I'm not even a big gamer, but with Vision Pro, games are completely new to me. For example, I've been playing Angry Birds, but in Vision OS, it's super cool because you can use, you know, the app like an iPad app, just suspended wherever you want. You can also use it further back and sort of, you know, pinch to, you know, catapult the bird or interact with the interface, which is, again, super cool, very futuristic. And yeah, it's an enjoyable game. I've enjoyed playing, you know, one of the first games I played on my iPod Touch back in the day here, but that's nothing compared to the 3D stuff that you can do with the Vision Pro here. And of course, I can say hi to my cats. So as for the 3D apps I'm talking about, first up, we have Djay. I've loved this app on iPod Touch and iPad and iPhone for years, but this go around the developers have put an augmented twist on this long existing app here. You can actually have a 3D mixing board, which I can toggle in the menu here. And for an early spatial app, it's wildly real looking, especially the collection of records you can choose from behind you to then place onto the mixing board. And naturally, I'm playing some Lady Gaga, except some instrumentals, so hopefully nobody picks up on that here on this platform. And the interface for the controls, the effects, all of it is crazy. It's 3D. You can also literally pause and play and just sort of mix stuff and slow stuff down with the knobs and dials and sliders. It's absolutely incredible. It blew my mind the first time I used this here. You can also toggle some environments, you know, like this sort of screen environment, which is super cool. So you can have your own little, I don't know, ultra music festival in your living room, which is always fun. They also have this space lounge you can toggle where robots dance with you. And naturally, I have to get crunk with them. I can't leave them hanging. I don't even care. Judge me. This is so much fun. And yeah, no, I love being like a pretend DJ. So this app has really sort of brought the fantasy somewhat into real life. So yeah, I have too much fun with this here, but you know, there are other fun 3D or spatial apps too. I also need to touch my cats. It's only been 30 minutes, but more importantly, I need to reassure them that they are indeed not going to starve to death because they constantly ask me for wet and dry food, specifically dry food this evening here. I also love how the Apple Vision Pro captures just how closely I look at my cats sometimes. So love that. It's always funny to see on camera here. So I put him back on his tree and I, you know, tried to get her. But anyway, more importantly, let's play some Fruit Ninja, another classic iOS game that has been reborn in spatial, or augmented reality here. The 3D menu is crazy by itself just loading into the game here. The game also needs you to have enough space in your physical environment, which is cool, so you're not like running into anything, and so stuff can just sort of load in properly. And there's my cat obsessing over food, trying to get it out of the machine like he's gonna like successfully pull off a heist or something.
Please stop. Please stop. There's nothing for you. There's nothing. Stop. No! 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 Do you want a banana? Do you want one? Would you like a banana? Would you like a banana? Would you like one? I'm sick of you. I'm sick of all of you. Go see the pig. Go see him. Go see the pig. Oh my god, the pig's in the litter box. That's so fucking funny. Okay.
I hope you enjoyed that last bit there. I thought that was hilarious, but yeah, it just goes to show how you're very much integrated into your surroundings so you can deal with your pesky pets. And here I am, not really chopping fruit or whatever in Fruit Ninja that well. It's still a bit of a learning curve because, like, again, normally you just use your fingers. You can be super lazy about it, but using your actual arms to chop the stuff in real time makes this game a completely new experience opposed to what you were accustomed to in 2009. I mean, that was an innovation at the time, but over time, 2D titles kind of got boring. So, it's nice to see them sort of reborn with spatial computing. I'm also saying what's up to the sensei and saying hi to the pig as well, because why not? But after all of that gaming excitement, I was starting to get tired and I knew it was time to get ready for bed. So I took the headset off, unclipped the battery from my belt, put it into the case here again, painstakingly zipped it up too, because again, I will not be having this fly out. I will be really upset if I break this thing, even though I have Apple Care, which is an additional $500. But anyway, continuing with my nightly routine, I then brushed my teeth with my Life and Wave, the Apple of toothbrushes. I recently made a video about this. Check it out. And do you need a headset on to brush your teeth? Absolutely not. And after that was done, I promptly went to my bedroom to put my pajamas on, which you saw earlier. And yes, folks, I wear pajamas. Otherwise, I'm overstimulated and cannot sleep. And yeah, I know it's pronounced overstimulated. It's a joke, but not really. Anyway, I turn off most of my lights with the HomePod in my living room the same way I turn them on in the morning in this video, if you remember. I say goodnight to my cats, of course. I check the AC to make sure it's on, because if it's too hot, I cannot sleep. I then turn the lights off in my office. Similar thing, I have a HomeKit plug in there for my creative setup. And then I go to my room and shut my door for the night so I can sleep in peace without anybody bothering me to feed them. And then here I am taking the Vision Pro out for a final time this evening for some media consumption before I go to bed. I just place it on my bed like so. Again, you will not catch me breaking this thing unless it's a freak accident. It's kind of annoying babying it, but whatever. It's first gen, and of course they had to make the outside glass, but I digress here. I put the thing on, and I am immediately immersed into Vision OS on my back. This is super relaxing, and yeah, with spatial computing, there is no limitation here. You don't have to hold anything above your head. Stuff is just suspended right in front of you, so I can interact with Juno, up close like I would with an iPad. I can also push it back too. This way you can see things scaled up more, and also you can interact with the interface without necessarily having to reach out and touch it, which can get a little bit tiring here. Also too, you can pull out the virtual keyboard to search something specific if you want. Instead of using dictation, I'm using it to type in Ryan Gosling. I wanted to see his performance at the Oscars, and I quickly found what I was looking for, clicked on it, and had that load right in front of me. I also can dim the lights too, which is super cool. This is a similar setting to what you get in photos as well. Auto dimming, your background just gets darker. I can then scale the screen up, and yeah, it looks like it's like a 75-inch TV suspended right above me, so I can enjoy this incredible, super silly performance, of course, and I definitely recommend you watch it. It's even better when you toggle a virtual environment as well, like Yosemite. And I'm using light mode here because, like, it's impossible to see a dark environment in screen recordings, although I will toggle one in a minute here. But yeah, Yosemite works pretty well, but I personally love Mount Hood. The water just looks super cool, and yeah, it just feels like I'm just sort of outside camping or something with a TV suspended above me. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, the virtual environments definitely make your environment or your media consumption experience even better. Here is the dark mode enabled, and as you can see, you can barely see anything, what are you gonna do? But I assure you, it looks absolutely fantastic in person. You can see stars in the sky, and just like, it looks even more real because like when you're outside in the dark, you know, your vision isn't exceptionally sharp. So what I'm saying is the dark environments with Vision Pro look really real. So I prefer to use them again for media consumption. But anyway, I'm continuing to enjoy I'm Just Ken, the Oscar performance here, especially this part where Ken grabs this guy's hand and kisses it, or Ryan Gosling for that matter. Can't really differentiate the character now after watching the Barbie movie, but yeah, what an incredible performance, and I'm so happy that I got to watch it in such an immersive way, because yeah, Vision Pro makes TV, movies, YouTube so much better than just watching it on a phone, lying on your side, or just sitting at a TV or a computer. It really does change the game for media consumption here. But I'm going to put Juno over there, and I'm going to then open up Notion just to make sure that I've done everything I needed to do today, you know, just sort of check up on what I need to do tomorrow. I normally input all of this on my Mac or my iPad, which is much easier. I also opened up Twitter, sorry X, to do a final little scroll through before I go to bed. Back to Notion though, I'm checking stuff off, and then I close it, close Twitter, close Juno. I'm about ready to go to bed, but before I do, I just want to experience the virtual environments again. I know Apple has a Breathe app for meditation, but I gotta tell you, being in these virtual environments is a real treat. Yes, they're VR and they don't look completely real, but if you just allow yourself to enjoy the immersion, you know, and just sort of enjoy the lighting and the perspective, especially without anything open because stuff scales even sharper, you can really just sort of feel removed from your environment and just kind of think about stuff and just, I don't know, enjoy the view. I mean, obviously, you know, go outside, visit places, go to Yosemite, you know, being actually there in person, I'm sure, is way better. And way better, you know, saying that is probably an understatement. Of course, going to actual places, national parks, nature, experiencing reality is way better. You know, it's natural. Do it. Please don't buy this thing and expect to never go outside again. But the fact that you can just transport yourself to these places in a pretty convincing way on a Wednesday night, you know, with your headset in bed is just wonderful. So, you know, I like to just sit here, especially in Mount Hood, and stare up at the virtual stars and just, yeah, enjoy these surroundings. And the fact that this is only going to get better with time is incredible. So I'm really excited to see where the virtual environments go, but that is enough virtual or augmented reality for me for the day here. I think it's been a pretty balanced day, you know, doing what I have to do, looking at the world through my own eyes, and also looking at the world through the Vision Pro. So I hope that you have enjoyed this. I hope you understand why I showed you every sort of little nook and cranny and aspect of my day, because again, as much as I love the Apple Vision Pro, you certainly shouldn't be wearing it all the time for everything. So yeah, that is my real day in the life. I put quotes around day because this totally wasn't shot over the course of a month. But yeah, this is how I use the Apple Vision Pro day to day. I wouldn't say I would do all of these things on a normal day. This is just, you know, a video. I want to show you sort of how this fits into my life again. But I would probably do half of that during the day because this thing really does enhance your Apple ecosystem experience and just your technology experience in general, if that makes sense. I mean, it introduces the Z-axis, you have environments. Augmented reality is the future for sure, and Apple has nailed it with this thing. Even though it's very first gen and imperfect, I'm so impressed with it, and I'm so excited to see what Vision OS 2 does and, you know, what other apps bring and all that. And also, I'm really excited to see the next generation of this because it'll make this even more of a tool you can just readily use and not sort of like, I don't know, you know, separate from some tasks, because like, you know, I would say right now, especially with the video pass through, you definitely want to have this off to just view stuff with your eyeballs. Unless you literally have terrible vision, then this might actually help you. But I mean, for the most part, when it comes to, you know, some workflows and entertainment, this thing is unmatched. So get a demo at the Apple Store, buy one. I mean, they're not gonna come out with one for a minute. And life is short, you know, enjoy tech if you can, you know, finance it on your Apple card. That's what I'm doing. I don't recommend it, but this is my job. So I'm fortunate to be able to use this incredible technology, and you guys make that possible. That's all. Check out my links to Extra and my other socials, Instagram, Twitter, the rest, TikTok, if it's still around. And as always, I'm Noah, and I will catch you all in the next one.